Keitha, and I'm here with Coach D. Coach D is a performance athletic specialist. He's also a PhD candidate and owner of Athletic Zone since 2018 with 23 years of experience as a professional training and coaching. Also, he has trained youth and professional athletes in various fields. Thank you. Thank you for coming out, Coach. You are here with Tony Gaskins, going to be on stage with him. I am so excited for you. Are you excited?
I am. Thank you.
You are, because Tony Gaskins, not saying that you're not, Tony Gaskins is nationally known.
Yes.
And he's been in the self-improvement business for a long time, and I'm happy for you that you're on stage with him.
Absolutely.
So what are you trying to bring to the table or to the stage with him?
Yeah, I mean, so it's the 3Bs conference, right? Talking about brand, body, which that's what I'm here for, the body aspect of it. I wish I was on the business side as well. I mean, because all of those to me tie in together. So I feel like I can speak on any one of them, but I'm specifically here dealing with the body.
Okay, great. Now, and how you've been? You're excited today? And
Yeah. So it's more so like every time I speak, no matter what it is, no matter where I go, it could be at a middle school, it could be at a collegiate setting, private setting. My job is to try to impact, as many people as possible. And so I do that with the message. I do that with my life, my experiences. So as long as I can impact maybe one person to make a change, I did my job, and they're giving me opportunity to do it. So I'm excited about that.
You have mentioned that you looked up to your grandmother that raised you. Tell us some wise words she gave you that you would use this day.
I still look up to my grandmother, right?
Okay.
And so, wise words, that would be more so like if she said the same things over and over again. But I think there were so many lessons that I can't just like select one thing that she would say. She always talked about her upbringing. And her upbringing is what shaped my thought process the most. And so some of the things that she would talk about growing up in the 30s in Mississippi, like just how tough life really was, growing up on dirt floors and, all that type of stuff. So, I have no room to complain, right? Because they had a way harder time. And then, you see people making excuses for why they don't have this and that. She was always instilling in me, like, you can make it happen. You just got to get up and want to do it. Can you imagine it, right? And do you have basically the discipline to go get it? And if you do, you can make it happen. So there's a lot of different things she would say, but it's her lifestyle. And I watched her, work all the way through her 80s. They forced her to retire because she was a nurse. And everything started switching from paper to computer. Her eyesight wasn't that good. So there was a bunch of, issues there. So they forced her to retire. If she could, she would still work today. And she's 90 or 91 this year, right? So that type of spirit, that type of mindset, that type of example is what, propelled me to do what I'm doing right now.
So is it, you say also, would it be her, her work ethic?
Absolutely, her work. It's the work ethic, yes, but it's the spirit behind it. So there's some people who have work ethic and they might be working for money, work ethic for whatever reason, but she truly loved what she did as a nurse, and you could tell. Because she wasn't just a nurse while she was at work. She was a nurse all the time, always taking care of people. And so the spirit behind what she did and the fight that she had, because not only was she a nurse, she marched with Martin Luther King. She did all that type of stuff, when she moved to California, she was on whatever the board was to help the Hispanics to vote. So she did a lot of different things because she cared for people. So I'm in an industry, obviously, where I show that I care for people. I wanted to go the nursing route. I wanted to go and be a doctor. I wanted to join the military because you just want to go help people, right? And so her lifestyle was more so not just work ethic, but the spirit behind the work ethic and why she was doing what she was doing. Okay.
And that kind of goes to how did you obtain this grit that you speak about often?
Yeah.
And then the other second question is, how does one obtain this grit mentality?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different ways to get the grit mentality. For me personally, it's actually going through the fire. My father was in prison my whole life, basically in and out. My mother had me at 17. There was a lot of different scenarios where I'm not supposed to be here right now. And so I was exposed to a lot of different things early on. Luckily, I had my grandmother who took me in at 2 years old and raised me from that time forward to keep me, out of certain things. But the grit comes from me. The grit comes from actually doing the thing. In sports. We have, in football, we have a thing called the bull ring. The bull ring is where everybody gets in a circle. You put one person in the middle, and whoever comes hit you just got to be ready for it, right? Not everybody succeeds in the bull ring. I know I was one of the successful ones, but not everybody even wants to do that, right? But once you actually go through that, because you're going to get knocked down and you can get back up. And sometimes you'll knock somebody down But it's just going through that fire, it makes you tough. It makes you understand that when I'm on the football field, I have a whole team with me. It's not me against everybody. And so that's one way that they taught us grit within sports, and sometimes life is the same way. So you feel like you might be isolated and you keep getting hit and so forth. But if you get back up, right, and you start to make those connections with the people that can help you and so forth, you start to realize you have a team. You build the grit by not quitting, right, and then going after whatever it is you're going after. You build your team up, and then you go pursue whatever it is. So the grit comes from actually doing the thing, whatever it is that you want to do. And there's a TED Talk. I forget her name, is Asian lady. She does a TED Talk on grit. It's worldwide at this point. When I first went to medical school for chiropractic, the very first assignment we had was on grit, not on gross anatomy, not on the CNS. It was on grit, because they wanted us to understand that if you're going to pursue this or anything else, that you're going to have grit to do it. And I understood that, so I understood why they gave us that assignment. Because a lot of people, we hit a wall and it's like, oh man, I'm done. We turn around instead of just pushing through just a little bit more to get to the other side of success. So.
Now, that brings up another question. You mentioned that you have 3 children that are athletic.
Mm-hmm.
How did
I have 4 children that are athletic, but
okay.
One is too young. He's not in athletics yet. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
No,
to the
okay.
4th child.
Yeah.
Okay, so how did you teach them grit? Because you had a different upbringing,
Exactly.
and I'm pretty sure, of course,
Yes.
you are a different father to
Yes.
your children.
Yes.
So how do you teach them grit when they are, the world is a little bit spoiled a little bit?
Yeah, I let them bump their heads. Like, it's you want to protect your kids, right? Because you don't want them to experience, and they don't experience what I experienced. They have a 2-parent household, so it's already different anyway. But as far as them learning, they are in sports, so they can go exploring and do what they want to do. I let them choose whatever sport they want to play, didn't force it on them. So then that way, it's like you actually have a love for what you're doing. It's not me trying to live through you. So first and foremost, and then when they're going through those battles and struggles, I can teach them and show them certain things to help them get through it, but they still have to be the one to go through it. And mommy and daddy can't come to practice and talk to the coach and tell the coach not to be tough on you. No, you're going to have to figure it out. You have to figure it out, because we have to figure it out in a lot more different ways. But that you don't have those battles, but you have to at least have some battles to get you ready, because my oldest is 15, about to be 16. College is coming rapidly. It's coming up quick. And so when she leaves, if she does go somewhere out of state or just too far where we can't actually be there, she needs to already have a mindset that's going to allow her to operate within that setting. If she's not able to do it now on a small scale, you won't be able to do it then. So we set the path early as possible with them, give them instruction, allow them to live, through those instructions as they get older. You have to go make the choices. Of course, I want to be one of those fathers, right, where I can protect my daughter at all times. It's just impossible. So she has to learn how to do those things. And within her doing that, she starts to develop the grit. But if I'm always there to save her, the grit won't be there, because she'll always rely on me and never having to fight through whatever that struggle is. So the way I do it with my kids is I allow them to struggle. My youngest son, or my oldest son, he started baseball this year, and he's struggling. He loves baseball. It's like, okay, well, you got to learn. You don't want to go out there and get embarrassed. So when we get home, I need you to go swing the bat, hit the tire 100 times. I need you to go ground the ball 100 times. So you have to go through the fire to learn those things. And it's grit on a small scale, but it's teaching them now. Mm-hmm.
So in some of your videos, you often share fitness and health industry wisdom. Why do you choose not to gatekeep this type of information?
Because I didn't grow up gatekeeping. I didn't even know what gatekeeping was until I saw that other people actually gatekeeped. And I actually made a video and spoke about this on my YouTube channel about gatekeeping and how it's a crab in a bucket mentality, especially for us. I can't speak for anybody else, but once we're introduced to something, it should be the idea of learning, executing, perfecting, and then teaching. And then if I can go teach somebody else the same exact thing, then they can replicate that. And then we can have, because we like to complain about not having our own communities, businesses, banks. Okay, so the ones that have the knowledge, who are in those inner circles and they're not sharing information, they cannot complain at all, because you have it and you're not giving it out to the people. And I'm not saying you can't have, because you have universities who charge for knowledge, you have gurus, so I'm not saying you can't charge for it, because sometimes if you just freely give, some people don't see the value in it. So sometimes you do have to charge just to make sure that that person is actually paying attention and sees the value in it. And so, and just because you're charging doesn't mean you're gatekeeping. Gatekeeping would be like you're not even approaching giving information out, or even trying to figure out a way to help the person that's so-called beneath you or below you in position, to help them come up from that position. So the reason why I do is because I believe in people. Like, going back to what I said about my grandmother, I could only imagine if back then one person was successful, let's just use names that we know: MLK, Martin Luther King, Marcus Garvey, any of them. If we could use any of them as example, and they knew that there was a better way for us, but they didn't go back and reach back to try to help, where would we be? Where would the progress be? So the mindset has to be, it's not me, it's us. And so if you have an us mentality, you're not going to gatekeep. And so the reason why I do it, because I was raised to have an us mentality, and it's been with me since I was younger. Anytime I was selfish, it didn't work out for me anyway, every single time. And so I don't even, I try my best not to be selfish. Sometimes I want to be selfish, and I'll indulge in it, and it's like, why did I do that, right? And so having the mindset of us stops me from being that way, and I don't identify with, gatekeeping, so that's why I speak against it.
Okay, now, how did you come up with this mindset that health is more important than money, which is why trainers should be getting paid substantially?
Yeah, so, okay, it's a journey to get to that point. So there's a scripture that actually talks about the body, being a healthy body, being more important than gold and any precious stone. And I think it was Bill Gates or whichever one of those rich guys said that when he was going through his health issues, that the one thing he realized that money wasn't everything, his health wasn't, and we know that. If you ever seen anybody in ICU, if you ever seen anybody on a deathbed, money at the time is irrelevant. Health is very important. And so for me, it's watching athletes go through certain struggles when it comes to health as far as injury, and then having an identity tied to the sport versus just them mentally healthy, period. So you have athletes who, and I've spoken on this before, and it's called beyond rehab. You have athletes who, they get hurt, they lose their identity in a sport, and then they go down a downward spiral. Or athlete gets cut from a team, downward spiral, right? And so like all those things are tied into like temporary gain, temporary success. But we talk about long-term health. If I can walk away from a game, okay, I might have hurt my leg, but I'm healthy. My children get to see me. I get to wake up in the morning, experience life in a different way. And I understand that that's important. Then the money, yes, money is, don't get me wrong. Money is important. The scriptures say money answereth all things. We're supposed to leave an inheritance to our children's children. You have to have that as well. But you can't do that if you don't have the capacity, which I'll be speaking about today, in order to do that. So if I'm talking about capacity as far as health in general, if I correlate that to the gym, if I go to the gym and I want to lift 300 pounds, but my body hasn't been built up to lift it, I don't have the capacity to do that. So if I want to live a long life, healthy and so forth, but I'm eating, bad every night and drinking soda, high fructose corn syrup, and all these other things, when it comes time to live long, which would be my 300-pound lift, I don't have the capacity to do it. And so whatever mark I'm supposed to leave on this earth, whatever mission I have, I don't have the capacity to do it because my body isn't right. And so if I want to live a long life, have a long impact, and be able to do all those things and teach and do whatever I have to do, then my capacity has to be at a certain level. And my capacity is going to be dictated by how I eat, how I sleep, how I move. That's why it's important, because if I want to carry out whatever mission it is, I have to be here to do it. I have to be healthy enough to do that. And so to me, that's why it's important.
Is it also, as you stated, that athletes get hurt, and then, but the thing is that when they get hurt, they have to come to a person like you, and so they also have to be willing to pay for your services, to get better, so they can stay in the game. So is that also where that mindset comes from? Yeah. So the payment part of it, because we all chose whatever we want to do for a living, right? And so I feel like when it comes to athlete, not just athlete. Yes, athlete knows he has to go get rehab, he has to get his body built up, or he's not going to play the sport. Right. General population has a lot more leeway to where it's like they don't have to wake up and perform on a daily basis. So for that population, it's even harder for them to see. But it's only when the blood pressure medicine comes into play, the diabetes come into play, like when hypertension, when those things come into play, then they want to go to the trainer and then change the diet and so forth. Okay. So the doctor gets paid a lot of money to tell them to go change their lifestyle. Okay. Right? So here we are on the preventative side, where we really should be getting paid more because we see you more. On time you go see the doctor, that's why you have insurance. You go see him throughout the year, maybe twice, whatever regimen you have. People come to the trainers every day almost. That's right? True. And so we have a bigger responsibility. And if we have a bigger responsibility and we are trying to teach you how to live your life so that you can have a healthy life, so that you don't have to go to the doctor, why shouldn't we be compensated for it? Now I guess the world puts certain tags on us, and so they have a tag of doctor, which I'm pursuing mine too. So they have a tag of a doctor, so it allows them to be in a certain bracket. Well,
as trainers, we should look at that and say, okay, well, let us get to the highest level that we can get to, educate ourselves, let us become a doctor of psychology, doctor of kinesiology, whatever it is you want to choose, and then you can demand that price, especially if you are diligent at what you do and you actually change people's lives. You deserve that.
You made a statement, and I'm asking you to expand on this statement. It's like your purpose in life is to have reverence for God and to do good by people daily.
Yes, yeah. So I didn't just wake up and make that up. There's a scripture that basically tells you, for this is the whole duty of man, that we fear God, keep his commandments, because at the end of the day, we're going to be judged for what we do right and what we do wrong. It's simple. So, and it says this is the whole duty, and we looked that up, that means that's your purpose. And so if that's my purpose, and I know that that's my purpose, and I don't question it anymore, and I have vision, I have clarity, then I can go and be impactful in other ways without having doubt. And so if I know my duty is to serve the Most High, that's my duty, serve the Most High. What gifts did he give me? Whatever gifts he gave me, that's what I'm going to execute on while doing it the right way. Because you can do it the wrong way. So I can have a gift of knowing the human body, but then I go and I teach people to take steroids because I'm thinking aesthetic versus longevity. Peptides, GLP-1, whatever it is, I can push those things just to make you look a certain type of way. But then I'm not thinking about the extension of your life and your children's life. I'm not doing it the right way, because I'm supposed to love my neighbor as myself, as we all know. And so would I do that to myself? No. I want to be here for my children. So when I do train people, I'm going to do it within my purpose and knowing that, okay, this is what I was put here to do, because obviously I have a mind for it. I have the reach, I have the access for it. And so if that's the case, then I'm going to do it within the scripture as far as the guidance that I was given. And so it's not just necessarily, because some people say, oh, this sounds churchy. It's not churchy, right? So it's not a church thing. It's a God-given ability that he gave you and told you to go execute on. Everybody has a job to do. And so whatever that is, you're supposed to do it fully and with diligence and with joy and all those things, knowing that on the latter end, I made the impact I was supposed to make. And then somewhere along the line, you built relationships, right, that should last a long time. And then also you built a legacy. When I say legacy, not just a name, but something that you could pass down to your children and their children. This
is going to be like way off the subject.
Okay.
So my final question, what animal would you be and why?
Yeah, so I thought about this a lot, actually. It's crazy. And I have my middle child, my second daughter. We talk about this a lot. And I've been back and forth. At one point, I was like, I'm going to be the elephant. At one point, it was the eagle. But it always circles back around to the lion, because you hear about the lion in the scriptures, right? And one of my favorite speakers, Eric Thomas, talks about the lion. He talks about how when you look in the jungle, you have elephants that are bigger, you have giraffes that are taller, you have hyenas, which are more fierce. But for some reason, the lion commands, right? And when you read in the scriptures, even the Most High referenced the tribes and Christ as like the lion, right? The Lion of Judah. And so, like, why is this animal so powerful, right? And then when you look at his characteristics and you see how he operates, he's not a solopreneur. He's not out there by himself trying to get things done. It's all about the pack. It's all about all of us, going back to what I was saying earlier. So when you have that mindset, and yeah, he is known as the king of the jungle, but he doesn't even do most of the work when it comes to the hunting. The female, the lioness, they do most of the hunting and all the type of stuff. But he's a protector for sure. If you get you get on the wrong side, right, when it comes to the lion, he's definitely gonna protect and hold his own. He's fierce, fearless, like, so all those things, all those attributes. When you look at us as a whole, when we operate that way, there's a lot that we can get done. And a lot of times we don't want a leader, so we go straight off and we do our own thing. But then we don't go as far as we can. And so when you have a leader of a pack, and there's been videos that show you when two lions, so if one lion is fighting hyenas by himself, he's done. All it took was two in the video. They went back to back, and those two lions handled the pack. And those hyenas started to scramble, and then the female lioness came, and it was a wrap, right? So it just took those two. And so the scriptures also tell you two are better than one. And so when you have that understanding, for me, when I look at the lion, I'm like, okay, I can identify with that, because I can get out here and fight. I can be fearless. I can do roaring or whatever. I can do all that type of stuff. But I know for a fact that my strength is not just within me; it's within the people that's around me, right? And at one point in time, I actually had a nonprofit called The Pack, PAK, which is a whole nother story. But PAK, and the logo was a lion, right? Because I was identifying with that lion and the message that you get when you read about him.
Is there any event that you have coming up that you want to tell us about, so we can go and how can I say, be involved
Be involved,
in? Because
yeah,
I know
yeah.
you've done like grinding events, like High Rocks. So do you have any events coming up?
Definitely have a lot of events coming up as far as Everyday People Combine. We have what's called Everyday People Combine Pro Days leading up to the Combine in September. We have High Rocks, mock High Rock events, and those are on Saturdays and Sundays, and I can get you the dates. And then speaking engagements like today here at the Triple Bs, there'll be more speaking engagements coming up, just waiting on those dates. But yeah, so all throughout the year, I'll be trying to impact people as much as possible. I used to do what's called Mindset Monday, where every Monday we would gather and have talks like this. And now that I'm in a new location, I might bring that back. And if I do, you'll be one of the first to know. Okay.
And so where can we reach you? Was it like a website that we can reach you, or social media?
So my website is athleticzone214.com. Or you can reach me on Instagram at athleticzone214, on my personal one, Coach D_Athletes Performance Lab.
Okay. Thank you for spending time with me today and showing the world that we have so much to offer in Dallas, and I'm happy. Like I said, I'm happy for you to be on this stage with Tony Gaskins. Right. So hopefully in the near future, we're going to see you on more stages and bigger stages.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you, and you have a great day.
Thank you.